Hey, Professor Strawbridge, this is my final project. It's going to be on Bomba. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. I picked out a good video that I'm going to drum along with some Bomba on my desk here. I'm going to try and make the best out of it here, just using my computer to record. But we'll go ahead and get started. So for the history of Bomba, dates all the way back to 1501, and it was developed in Puerto Rico after the transatlantic slave trade, which was in 1501. And then if you see there, the first documentation of it is all the way back in 1797. But then they started having documented accounts of it in the 1800s, and it was used as a rebellion tool against the slave owners. I get a little bit more into that in a later slide I made. But lastly, though, at the bottom part there for the history, it says up until the 1940s and 50s, Bomba was considered pre-modern and African American. But going forward, so there's three basic Bomba rhythms. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called the Saika, the Uba, and the Hollandes. And the Saika is originally developed in Santurce and Mayaguez. Again, don't know if I'm saying them correctly. And then the Saika rhythm is a slower tempo, and it puts out a more slow, sensuous, kind of sensual feeling. The Uba is a faster and more upbeat rhythm. And then lastly, the Hollandes is often used at the end of the Bomba performances. And that's usually a faster, more syncopated rhythm. Going forward there, so we'll move on to the instruments. I think I might have listed a little more than I needed to, but it basically consists of two drums called bariles or bombas. It's tricky saying these words because I don't speak any Spanish, so bear with me on the pronunciation. The two types of bomba drums, the Bouillador and Subador, were made from rum, nail, or lard barrels. I thought that was pretty neat. That's probably the coolest thing I found out from this is just how they were traditionally made. And then there's also the single maraca. That's very popular. The cua, which were sticks played by hitting the base of the Bouillador. And then palilos, which are basically sticks that were used for higher pitch sounds. So those were two different types of sticks there, but I think they were both equally important, depending on the music. So going into the meaning of bomba music, it was created by the slaves in sugar field plantations. There are several documented cases in the 1800s. This is what I talked about earlier, where it was used as a rebellion tool against the slave owners. And a lot of slaves, they couldn't communicate with each other. I thought this was really cool too. And it just goes to show the power of music and being able to find that common ground, because that's how the slaves were actually communicating and working towards rebelling against the slave owners. And that was a big thing there is the rhythm would tell the method of starting and pursuing the slave rebellion. So it was a really neat thing that I learned from this. I'm glad I know it now because it really kind of makes me think like, man, the power of music is it's incredible. And it even dates back to times when I didn't know music had that big of a meaning, but I guess it did. So going on to the famous artists, there was the Cepeda family. They were the most well-known, and then there was the Ayala family. And then they're a family that's known for their arts, and they have a big tradition of performing bomba music. And then also, lastly, he wasn't really too popular in my research for what I saw, but he did make bomba mainstream in the 1950s and 60s, and it was Rafael Cortijo. And then in that picture there, that's actually, in that picture there, that's actually Rafael Cepeda. Cool historic picture there. It looks like that one was taken in 1986. So it was a pretty cool research, and found out some pretty cool things about some great people for the music. And then going on into the present day, Bomba music is very apparent in today's world for 2020. It's played on cruise ships and pretty much in a lot of island atmospheres. Bomba also has a major influence, I think, on vacationers and tourists while they're on vacation. Um, and I think the big thing too is Bomba. It kind of puts you in a mood where it just seems I don't know. It's an indescribable mood, but it just kind of makes you feel like the music's really important. And I remember going on a cruise a long time ago when I actually went to Puerto Rico, and I think it was a couple years ago. It was 2 years ago, and I can remember hearing the drums, like a lot of the videos I've watched, and it makes me think like that was bomba music that I was listening to, and it's just very a very apparent memory that I have from going to Puerto Rico. It's just the drums, walking through the island, in the really touristy parts. Obviously, where all the major cruise ships are, it's touristy, and that was a big thing that I picked up on. Now that I look back on it, it was definitely bomba music that I heard. So again, bomba's a big deal in Puerto Rico. Um, and then lastly, here are my sources. Um, but let's see here. This is my first Zoom recording, so I'm going to try and play the song I heard. I'm going to play along with it. I was practicing the beat on this a couple times. I'm pretty confident in it. But here we go. I'll find a rhythm. Pause it really quick here. I'm going to try and move this down a little bit. It's a pretty simple rhythm. It looks like it's basically what I've been playing is ta-tong, bass, ta-tong, bass, ta-tong, bass, ta-tong, bass. So that's what I'm gonna start that over one more time. It's kind of tricky to get in a rhythm at first, but once you're going, it's a pretty simple rhythm. Now we're going. I like that rhythm a lot. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll try and make another video with maybe just if the music didn't come through that time, I'll try and record it a different way. I hope you did hear it through the computer. But other than that, thank you again for an awesome semester. I really enjoyed your class, and I wish this really never happened. I wish we kind of were able to go to your class. because the Zoom classes are not your class, but the other Zoom classes we've had have been kind of brutal. But no, I did enjoy your class a lot. It just sucks it was cut short. Um, but other than that, though, I hope everything's going well with you. Um, Everything's good on my end so far. My grandma, I guess, is hanging on by a thread day by day. So don't know when, but just hanging on. But other than that, I hope everything's great with you and your family. I hope you guys are staying safe. And thanks again for a great semester.